I would say I've pretty much seen many of the deals they have on their website and in their inventory, and you're talking about almost every property that I've looked at has about 10% or more annual returns. And I don't know about you guys, but has your 401k been making consistently 10% a year over the last 5 years? There's probably no one out there that has been doing that. And if you have been doing that, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, yeah, and the nice thing about that, Todd, is that we're making over 10%. That's the cash on cash. We're not even taking into consideration that property is going to go up in time. Well, there's lots of meat on the bone when they buy this home already. So we're not talking the 10 or 20 or 30% that they're going to make on that home if, in fact, they ever do decide to sell it. We're just talking the cash on cash basis.
Absolutely true, and we all know that it's not going to be forever that these properties are going to be at these prices. One thing I can tell you for sure, whenever prices fall below replacement cost, so if you've got a home that costs $60,000 to build and you can now buy that home for 30 or 40, I mean, there's just no way that the prices are going to stay at that level forever. Okay, and that's a metric that I actually watch very, very closely is the replacement costs. And that's obviously a very good metric to look at because you're getting a deal when to replace it with an actual home that looks very similar you couldn't even do. Okay, that's when you know a market is undervalued. Okay, and there's many parts of the country very, very much undervalued today. But at any rate, if you are serious about investing in real estate, and if you're serious about getting incredible deals in real estate, this is going to be one of your best opportunities. You're going to be out there, especially if you don't want to have to do 40, hours, 80 hours a week, crisscrossing the country, try to put all this stuff together. Some people out there are capable of doing that. Most of you are not. Most of you dream about being able to do that. You dream about being a pace setter and a world traveler, and but the reality is, when it comes right down to it, once we get done with our family and our job and and everything we got to do at home, and you know what I mean. The reality is, most of us, we just don't have enough time to do all that, or we don't make enough time to do all that. So let Marquis do the heavy lifting. Let them do all the hard work. You get the benefit of all of this expertise, all these, blood, sweat, and tears that Chad and his company has put into this thing. And I've seen their office. I've been in their office. I mean, this is just in a really top-notch, incredible organization. And they're going to pass on a lot of the savings to you. Which is one of the big reasons why I love working with these guys. So guys, take advantage of it. Call the number on the screen. Call this number right now, 877-588-3932. Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing, and then I'll let Todd Lawson maybe give some final words of wisdom here before we sign off here. If you maybe don't have all the money yourself in your 401k or your IRA, okay, there's also some financing options available. Okay, so if you don't have all the money, let's say you have 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever, call that number right now. There are some other options for you. Okay, call that number. Don't think just because you don't have 50, 80 grand right now, you can't get something done. Okay, call that number and find out, because some of you are going to be able to qualify for financing. Okay, that's one thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is, guys, these are incredible properties. Wherever you live, whether you live in Florida, whether you live in California, whether you live in Texas, Chicago, wherever you live, there's a lot of people out there that have no idea that you can buy $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 properties out in incredible rental neighborhoods. There's no bars on the door. There's no drug dealers on the corner. There's nice cars in the driveway. There's SUVs on the driveway. When the kids come home from school, they get off the bus. The parents are waiting for them at the corner, just like you do in your neighborhood. There's no guns. There's no danger. It's just good bread and butter neighborhoods, and most people have no idea that world even exists. Do you think you might know someone who has some money in their 401k and their IRA, who saved up, a business owner or someone that's maybe even wealthy from their investments or their business? Or other things like that. We actually have, a number of opportunities right now where someone on this line knew someone, and they're getting some deals done. Okay, this could be your first deal you get done, even if you don't have money on this call. Okay, if you're listening right now, do you think you'd make a few bucks if you actually introduced them to some of these incredible properties and got an assignment fee? Or even Marquis, I'm sure, be willing to make sure that there's a way that you could get paid. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. You've got to learn how to use and leverage the resources. Not only about other people's money. Obviously, other people's money is awesome. Okay, but you've got to leverage other people's time, other people's expertise, other people's resources, other people's experience. Other people's experience is hugely valuable because there's a lot of things you could go out and try and do, okay? But your learning curve on that is so far in the future to where you can be really successful at it that it would be just so much faster, so much easier for you to give up a little bit of the revenue and use someone that's already got the experience. That's one thing I am learning in 2011. When you want to go to big money, I'm talking about 7 figures and beyond, you have got to, I can almost guarantee you this, you have got to stop trying to figure out all this stuff out yourself. You got to just be good at one thing and then leverage the experience, the resources, the tools of other people, and that's how you're going to go to a bigger income, okay? If you could just find properties from Marquis, get some for yourself, and you could locate 3 or 4 or 5 other investors, okay, that you know would love to get a 10 to 20% return on their money with great houses and great neighborhoods. If you just did that, you'd probably go into about a 6-figure income a month. Okay, and I'm not kidding. If you had 3 or 4 or 5 solid people, okay, I have many, many friends that do this exact same thing. They find these people that have the money, that want to invest in their money, but they don't have the time. They don't know where to go, okay? And so basically what I'm talking to you tonight is a couple different calls to action. Number one, if you've got money sitting out there in your IRAs and your 401ks and your savings, if you've got a line of credit, if you've got any access to money, take a look at this, because this might be absolutely positively the most incredible place you could put your money to get a great deals on properties, get a consistent high return on your money. If you don't think you have the full investment capability, of course, they have properties at many price ranges, but if you don't think you have full investment capability, still call them, because there are things that they might be able to do from a financing perspective to make sure and to work with you to qualify. And last but not least, if you're on this call still and you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, okay, and you need money, okay, all you simply got to do is do a little bit of work and find up some real investors out there and get them to talk to Marquis, okay? Get them to talk to Marquis, and obviously Marquis can make sure that you're taken care of and that you get paid in the process and advise you on how you can get paid in the process. But there's no reason why, if you're listening to this call, and the most of you are on here, this has been a great call. Most of you stayed all the way to the end, and I want to thank you for that. But there's no reason why this can't be a turning point for you to get into the game of real estate. There's so many people, like Todd Lawson said, there's so many people that talk the game, that say they're going to do it, and then 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they say, man, I wish I would have been involved in that. When you're going to see the prices go double what they are now, and people are going to do the same thing they did, 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember how many of my friends said, "Oh man, you were smart. You got involved. Man, I wish I would have got involved. I wish I would have got involved." And and they didn't. They didn't get involved. And now they're probably sitting out there right now saying the same thing. They're probably saying, "Man, I should get involved. I should get involved." And so don't be one of those people. You'll be kicking yourself. You'll be literally looking down there, looking at all these houses and you'll be seeing this thing, and you'll be like, "Man, I had the chance to do this. I didn't move. I didn't take action." And that's a shame, because this opportunity is here right now. And it's a great, I don't mean a little bit of an opportunity. I don't mean a potentially nice little few extra $100 a month type of opportunity. It is a transfer of wealth. I love what you said, Todd, there. We got 2 Todds here. It's a little confusing. I love what you said, transfer of wealth, because that is what's going on right now. And for some of you, you may not see that big, huge chunk of cash right this second, but I'm telling you, you will. I had one amazing experience a few years ago. I met a lady at a trade show, and she was a real inspiration to me. And she said that in the late 70s or early 80s, I can't remember the exact year she said. She said that she kind of went to a conference, an event like this, and they were selling some cheaper homes. And anyway, she actually got credit cards, and she bought 3 of these homes on credit cards. And she was telling me that over 20-something years, she worked. She obviously, she worked to pay down all of these homes, and she finally got them all paid off. And this was a few years ago, a couple years ago probably. And but there's one big problem that she has. She's almost completely deaf, and she could not get a job. And she told me, and she actually kind of had a tear in her eye. She said, "If I wouldn't have bought those properties, I don't know how I would survive." Okay? And she told me something I'll never forget. She said, because I made that decision, and she said it was hard to keep these properties at times. It was hard for me to, keep making the payments, and there were times where, it was, she had to deal with issues and whatever else. But she said it was worth it because now my net worth is higher, is greater than the doctors and the dentists in my neighborhood, and I can't get a job. These rental properties, they pay for the expenses and my way and basically all my expenses. And they provide me the living that I need. I'll never forget that when she said to me that her net worth was greater than the doctors and dentists in her neighborhood. And that is true. The millionaire next door. There are millionaires next door. We know that. We know there are people out there. We had no idea they're a millionaire, and they have a couple million net worth. Or they have maybe even 3 or 4 or 5 million or more net worth. And that's the way they did it. They went for the tried and true method. Are there flashier methods? Yeah, but they usually don't turn out as well. Okay? There's a lot of flashier things out there, right? But the tried and true method of real estate is by far the most lucrative. So I'm pretty much down to the end of this conversation here, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar, and hopefully you've liked some of my words of wisdom here at the end. But with that said, Todd, if you're ready, give them any last words of wisdom, and then we'll end this call.
Well, folks, I'm just going to, basically mirror what Todd Morgan has told you. You just got to get in the game. This is, I think you've seen the rates of return that we're talking about are doable. And the thing is that I'm showing you the conservative cases. These things are real. And you start, when you get involved, it starts to be addicting. I'm telling you right now that when we've invested in these things, and my wife looks at it, we get $20,000. She looks at it, she goes, that's half another home. We make $40,000. She goes, that's another home. From her perspective, she is putting them in like gold coins into her drawer, and that is the retirement that we're going to build on top of everything that we've done. She looks at it from that perspective. And if you can look at it from that perspective, we can do that with $40,000. We can do that with $50,000. It would have taken $100,000 or $200,000 to do that just a few years ago. And guess what? Those homes are worth that then. They'll be worth that again. But I don't want to wait. I want to make money on those homes today. That's what we're doing. Hopefully you want to do that too. If you want to, get involved. We'll help you along the way. We know what we're doing. You don't have to know what you're doing. You just have to have the desire and the ability to take the first step. So again, I want to thank you for coming. I do appreciate your time. I know that it's valuable. And Todd, thanks for inviting us.
Hey, no problem, guys. And I want to thank all the persons that have taken action. I just got a text saying that a lot of people have been calling in. The phones are swamped. So, guys, good job with that. You'll be very, very glad that you called in and really take a closer look at everything that Marquis is doing. And with that said, guys, thanks for taking action for those of you that have been calling in, and thanks for actually attending this webinar today. And, guys, let's make 2011 the best year ever. Let's go to the next level. Let's take it big. Let's quit thinking small. Let's start using the experience and the resources of others. Let's quit limiting ourselves. Let's go out there and find the big players, the people that can buy properties. Let's hook them up with Marquis. Let's get some deals done. Okay, let's make 2011 rocking. Let's not make excuses. Let's just make it happen. And that's what I'm excited to do for myself, for you guys. I want you guys to have a great 2011. And let's work together and let's make it happen.